Hey YouTube, Snowflakey's Emos here with another Master Duel deck profile today. Here I'm bringing my Evilswarm Master Duel deck profile that I've been playing for a little bit here. Evilswarms are an archetype of dark level 4 monsters that are focused on XZ summoning, XZing out some powerful extra deck monsters that are very disruptive, namely Evilswarm Ophion, an incredible boss monster that makes level 5 or higher monsters unable to be special summoned, and of course can search infestation, spell and trap cards from the deck, but also have good tools such as Evilswarm Nightmare, which can change special summon monsters to face down defense, making them useful, and Evilswarm Bahamut, which can discard a card to snatch steal monsters. All very powerful cards that we can bring out with an Evilswarm to create kind of an XZ style anti-meta strategy. So that's pretty cool. With that said, let's get into the card by card. Starting off with our monsters, I'm playing 3 copies of Evilswarm Heliotrope. This is just an Evilswarm vanilla monster. It's got 1950 attack, which is pretty solid, but mostly it's important is that as a vanilla monster, it can be rescue rabbited, and 2 Evilswarm Heliotropes instantly can make Ophion or Bahamut or any of our XZs, but specifically, they can make the ones that require the E-Swarm monsters, so that makes it a pretty good card. Next up, I'm also playing 2 copies of Megalo Smasher X, just something I thought I'd include for a little deck space because I've already been getting some of the Evilswars for my Evilswar deck that you've seen on the channel. And so, I figure a follow-up rabbit, being able to make Megalo Smasher X, which could make Lagia, could already seal a pretty strong board into kind of an unbeatable board. So that's something to keep in mind. And, Megalo Smasher just makes a good target. Next, I'm playing 3 Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is a monster that, you can banish this card you control to special summon 2 level 4 lower normal monsters with the same name. So it's either going to be both your Heliotropes or both your Megalo based on what you want to do with that turn. And, of course, they are destroyed during the end phase, which isn't a big deal if we XZ summon with them. So that's pretty cool. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Evilswarm Mandragora. This one is nice because it's a 4-star monster and just has this effect that if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you could special summon this card. So it makes it one of the better Evilswarm names because if you're made to go second and you're not getting negated out of the game, you can easily drop Mandragora to get another material, and maybe, of course, that means you can get another XZ, which is pretty cool. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Evilswarm Caster. This is a pretty cool monster, Dark level 4, 1750. During the turn this card was normal summoned, you can normal summon an E-Swarm monster in addition to your normal summoner set. Now this is pretty cool because they can't necessarily like infinite imperm this or whatever because it's like a condition of it being normal summoned. It's got some weird rulings that makes it hard to play around this effect, but that just means if we have this guy and another Evilswarm in our hand, we can put them both down, make Ophion, which is pretty great. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Evilswarm Thunderbird. This card is pretty cool. During either player's turn, when a card effect is activated, you can banish this card you control during the standby phase. Return this card banished by the effect, and if you do, it gains 300 attack. So this is a nice card to get once I've already have an XZ set up. Like if I have an Ophion and Ophion's winning me the game, Thunderbird is a good extra monster to summon to get in a little more damage, but then if my opponent tries to deal with the Thunderbird, that's easier to deal with than the Ophion. It just tags out and returns on my next turn so that if I have a next monster afterward, I can make another XZ. So just a pretty sweet card. And last for monsters, I'm playing 2 of Evilswarm Kirkion here. Kirkion is a level 4 monster. It's got an interesting effect. I can banish an E-Swarm monster from my graveyard to target a different E-Swarm monster in the graveyard and add that target to the hand. Then, if that, of course, was met, this card gains the effect that you can activate this effect to normal summon 1 E-Swarm monster. So it's pretty cool. If I already have 2 E-Swarms in the grave because I made an XZ and both their materials are in the grave, then, of course, I can just banish 1, add 1 back to the hand, immediately normal summon it. That gives me 2 level 4s to make another Ophion or whatever other Evilswarm monster I would like to make. And, yeah, that's it for the monsters. Getting into our spells, I'm playing 2 copies of Unexpected Die. If you control no monsters, special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your deck. That's just a way to get at Heliotrope or Megalo Smasher for free, whichever one I'm looking for. Next, I'm playing 2 Pot of Extravagance and 1 Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Extravagance banishes 3 to 6 extra deck cards face down to draw 1 card for every 3 banished. And then, of course, Prosperity can banish 3 to 6 to look at that many cards off the top of my deck and excavate 1 out of the however many I excavate, whether it's 3 or 6. What's nice about Prosperity is I can pick the target, so I can pick some unoptimal targets, like I don't need 2 Nightmare, 2 Bahamut, you know, something like that. Um, Extravagance is a little more random and risky, but the extra card is nice. What makes it important is that I need to max out on Ophion, the main win condition, because as long as I can keep 1 Ophion in the extra deck, we're still solid. And that happens a majority of the time, so I find these cards still worth to be running. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of D. Fisher. D. Fisher is pretty nice because a lot of cards want their cards to go to the graveyard. We're going to banish them instead. Now, while this does turn off our Kirkion, we don't care that much because, you know, combining a Floodgate with the Floodgate power of Ophion is very powerful, and we like to see that. And of course, I'm running 2 copies of Infestation Pandemic. This is the only Infestation card worth running. It makes all face-up Evilswarm monsters we control currently unaffected by spell or trap effects this turn. And that's pretty cool because, of course, Ophion's effect can be to detach a material to add an Infestation spell or trap from the deck. So we can just add this to our hand, and then we have the ability to protect our Ophion from spell and trap cards. And good protection, too, because it's unaffected. So that's great. Very useful. Very happy to have it. And that is it for the spell cards. Next, looking into our trap cards, I'm playing 1 copy of Mirror Force, just a nice little additional thing I'd like to have a copy of one of for, you know, if our opponent finally does summon a monster that's big enough to attack over Ophion, then, you know, we want to be able to do that. Also nice at protecting our little monsters in earlier turns, something like Kirkion or Mandragora that doesn't have much attack. So, you know, fine, solid addition. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Torrential Tribute. Great card. When a monster is summoned, destroy all monsters on the field. Can be very disruptive to our opponent, and of course, extra great for us, because if we have this and Infestation Pandemic, we can make Torrential Tribute completely one-sided, which is awesome. Very powerful. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. You know, we're winning with Floodgates, so I want to protect those, and we're winning with Ophion. I want to protect that. And paying half our life points to negate a key card is very important. Always happy to do it. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Solemn Strike. This card is pretty good because while Ophion does a lot to stop level 5 or higher monsters, it does not stop other XZs of lower levels or, of course, link monsters, which, you know, you can make tons of links. So when they go into a link to try to remove Ophion, we hit them with the Solemn Strike, and all is good. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Macrocosmos. It's Dimensional Fissure, but in trap card form, and even a little bit better because it banishes all cards, not just monsters. So, you know, pretty good to have, and helps make the board a bit nastier. And of course, 3 copies of There Can Be Only One. Now, while this turns off your Rescue Rabbit, you know, from getting out 2 monsters of the same type, what it does do, though, is we can benefit a lot because the Evilswarms are a lot of different types. Plants, warriors, thunder, spellcaster, rock, and even their main boss monster is a dragon. So it doesn't disrupt us too much because we can still cast her and another different Evilswarm into Ophion while there can be only one. But if we don't have Ophion ready to set up turn 1, it gives us an alternate win condition because there can be only one can stop a lot of powerful decks. And it's just a good card to have in something like this that can easily slot it in. And that's it for the main deck. Getting into the extra deck here, I have it filled with Xyz monsters, given that it's the main appeal. First one to talk about, of course, is Evilswarm Ophion. This is really the most important one that you gotta have. It's a 25-50 monster that requires 2 level 4 E-Swarms. While this card has XZ material, level 5 or higher monsters cannot be special summoned. So there's a lot of matchups you'll win outright. Branded, they can't make all their fusions. You know, people play lots of Dark Magician and Blue Eyes on here, and they can't do anything with that. So, you know, pretty cool, and just outright wins the right matchup. And of course, once per turn, detach a material from this card, add an Infestation spell or trap card from your hand. Now, do note, there has to be at least 1 material on this for it to have its level 5 or higher monsters can't be special summoned, so keep that in mind. And but detaching 1 to get an Infestation to protect it is pretty sweet. So this is a good card. We play 3 of it because we want to have at least 1 of it after we play an Extravagance or Prosperity. And we want to see it. As for the other Evilswarm monsters, I'm playing 2 copy of Bahamut. This one I might cut down to 1 because it's not too useful and I don't go into it. But for 2 level 4 Evilswarm monsters, you can detach a material to target a face-up card your opponent controls, discard an Evilswarm monster, and if you do, take control of that opponent's monster. And that's permanent. It's taking control of, so that's pretty sweet. Good way to deal with some excess Evilswarm monsters in your hand. So a good option to have. And of course, 2 means may not banish all of them. And of course, Evilswarm Nightmare. I kind of find this card to be pretty solid, actually. 2 level 4 dark monsters, and when your opponent special summons a monster, you can detach a material from this card, change that special summon monster to face down defense position. If you didn't want to make Lagia and whatnot, you could put 2 more dark vanillas in here and use your follow-up rabbits to make this card, because that is a pretty nice ability. They're not as useful when they're in face down defense position. That's pretty cool. Other than that, we're just playing some solid rank 4 good stuff. We do got Evilswarm Exciton Knight, which is an Evilswarm monster, of course. Once per chain during your main phase or opponent's battle phase, if your opponent has total more cards in their hand and field than you do, detach a material from this card, destroy all other cards on the field, and your opponent takes no further damage. So pretty cool. Gives you a board wipe, and in archetype name too, so pretty handy. Next, we got Ragna Zero that I got, 2 level 4s. Detach a material to target an attack position monster your opponent controls. That attack is different than its current attack. Destroy it and draw 1 card. Pretty nice to have. Diamond Direwolf, of course. Detach a material to target a beast, beast warrior, or winged beast, and monster you control, and 1 other card on the field. Destroy them. Pretty good way to get rid of a card. Gaga Cowboy, we can summon him in defense, burn for 800. That's pretty nice to have. Evilswarm Lagia, which I have in here from my Megalo Smashers. Should also get and put a Dolka in here probably, just to add the option. But, for 2 materials, you can make Lagia, which can just attach both those materials to be Solemn Judgment, and that's pretty sweet. Next, we got Steel Swarm Roach, which is something I find sometimes useful. When a level 5 or higher monster would be special summoned, detach an XZ material from this card and negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy it. That's, of course, pretty cool, and came in the same pack, so figured I might as well try it. And, of course, a Utopia, just filling up space mainly, but this deck can run a Utopia double package if you want to, and, that's something to consider if you do want to play the extravagance and the duality. I've just got it filling up space. Mostly Evilswarm Ophion is your main win con, and of course any other better 4s you got. If you got Divine Arsenal Zeus, just stuff like that I don't have in here yet, of course play that. It's just mainly I'm like Ophion is going to win me the game, and I'm just filling up with the best rank 4s that I just do own for this deck. So keep that in mind if you decide to make something similar. And that's it for the deck. So here's a replay to show the deck in action going up against our opponent here. With our starting hand here, we got 2 Evilswarms, but not a way to go into Ophion right out the gate, which is a little unfortunate. We do have Prosperity though, so as long as they don't have Ash, we may be able to rip into something good. I'm going to start by playing Prosperity. I'm going to banish only 3 cards because I want to keep my extra deck open. Let's see, we see Megalo Smasher S, Rescue Rabbit, and D Fisher. Rescue Rabbit, of course, will get me just what I want. So we're going to go into Rescue Rabbit. We're going to play Rescue Rabbit. We're going to pull out the 2 Evilswarm Heliotropes. We're going to make Ophion, which is very nice. Detach our material, get Infestation. Now this is nice. We have the Pandemic and Torrential combo. We got a Solemn Strike. So, some decent cards to keep our Ophion alive and disrupt our opponent still. So we're just going to set them all and pass our turn. Now our opponent here is going to set 2, and they're going to play Melody of the Awakening Dragon. This is the kind of thing where Evilswarm Ophion really shines because Dark Magician and Blue Eyes are quite popular in Master Duel just because, anime decks. And so you'll see them a decent amount even if they're not the best. And, something like this is pretty much an auto win because these level 5 or higher monsters, these Blue Eyes monsters, they're not going to be able to summon while Ophion's on the field. So, of course, they're adding all their cards to their hand, and, of course, they pass. You can't use that alternative, get it on the field, because Ophion's around. Now, I top deck another Rescue Rabbit, which is pretty awesome. This is going to let me go right into Lagia. So, Rescue Rabbit's out. They're going to use True Light to set some cards, since they can't special summon Blue Eyes. And, of course, they are going to hit me with the Divine Wrath on Rescue Rabbit. So definitely not a great Blue Eyes deck because it's playing Tiger Dragon, a little more anime. Must have been doing my get through low rank with this, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to do anything. I'm just going to keep beating them with Ophion. So they play the Strength and Unity. They're doing more True Light shenanigans, and that is all perfectly fine. We top deck our third Rescue Rabbit again. And this time we'll go into Megalo Smashers. Now they're going to play Scrap Iron Scarecrow, which will buy them another turn. But it doesn't matter here. These two will, of course, become Logia, which are definitely a way that they can stop the Scrap Iron Scarecrow on the next turn. They're just going to set a monster. Things aren't looking too hot for them. I'm going to summon the Evilswarm Thunderbird. They're going to play a Scarecrow. I'm going to let that attack get negated since I have can still clear for game. And, of course, Thunderbird does it. So just the deck was just hard stopped in its tracks because Ophion means he can't summon any of the big dragons or Blue Eyes is in a Blue Eyes deck. So that's it for the Evilswarm deck profile. Pretty fun deck for me to have in my rotation here. Always like anything that uses normal monsters, given that they're my favorite. And if you've already got infrastructure for a normal monster, aka own Rescue Rabbit, it's not too expensive. You just need the Ophions, and I mean, even things like Kirkion aren't necessarily great in Infestation Pandemic. So it's pretty cool, and it's just a nice way to have. Get you some XZ summon for your daily quest, and just hard counters some matchups that are reliant on special summoning level 5 or higher monsters. A lot of decks will not have a good time with it. And, so pretty much enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Love to know what you're doing with XZ's monsters if you play Rescue Rabbit elsewhere. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.